Renesmee Cullen came into the world amidst a storm of events that would change the lives of the Cullens forever. From the moment she opened her eyes, with her warm and deep brown gaze, similar to her mother's, it was clear that she was no ordinary child. Her birth was the result of an impossible union between a vampire and a human, something with no known precedent, and her mere existence sparked both conflict and amazement in equal measure. She had barely arrived in the world when her hybrid nature became evident. Unlike newborn vampires, who awaken with a burning thirst for blood, or humans who are born completely defenseless, Renesmee had a self-control that even the experienced members of the Cullen family found perplexing. Her skin, though warm, was harder than usual, and her growth was an unsettling mystery. Each day, her size and abilities expanded at a supernatural rate. In just 1 month, she appeared to be a year old. In 3 months, her mind and coordination far exceeded that of a human child of her apparent age. But the most extraordinary thing about Renesmee was not her accelerated growth or her prodigious intelligence. It was her gift. From the moment she first touched her mother, she demonstrated a unique ability. She could transmit her thoughts and memories through the contact of her skin. It was the inverse of her father Edward's power, who could hear others' thoughts without physical contact. Renesmee, on the other hand, could show anyone what she saw, felt, and thought with stunning clarity. When she placed her small hand on Bella's face for the first time, she revealed the moments she had experienced in the womb. The heartbeat of her mother surrounding her like a melody, the sound of Edward's voice speaking to her with devotion before she was born. The impact of her existence was immediate and devastating. The vampire world, governed by strict laws and ancient fears, saw her as a threat. Irina, a member of the Denali Coven, mistook her for an immortal child, beings forbidden in vampire society due to their inability to control themselves and the danger they represented. Driven by anger and the pain of her own past, Irina reported Renesmee to the Volturi, the oldest and most powerful vampire clan, who ruled with an iron fist and tolerated no threat to the status quo. When the Volturi learned of Renesmee's existence, they decided to intervene. Their arrival was announced with the kind of fear only their shadow of power could inspire. Alice Cullen, with her gift of foresight, saw what was coming. The Volturi would march to Forks with the intention of destroying the child, under the pretense of upholding the law, but in reality, driven by their thirst for power. The Cullens, in a desperate attempt to avoid a fatal confrontation, sought allies from around the world to testify in Renesmee's favor and prove that she was not a threat. Meanwhile, Renesmee grew at a pace that defied all logic. Within a few months, she already looked like a 5- or 6-year-old child. She possessed an ethereal beauty, with her skin glowing under the sunlight and her coppery hair, a blend of Bella's dark tones and Edward's characteristic bronze. Her presence was mesmerizing, and her ability to communicate made even the most skeptical fall under her charm. She was not a monstrous or uncontrolled creature, but a being of consciousness, of love, with a pure essence that made it impossible to see her as a threat. Jacob Black, Bella's best friend and her unconditional protector, experienced something unexpected when he met her: imprinting. An unbreakable bond was formed between them, an ancestral instinct that made him her guardian for life. This bond saved Renesmee and the Cullens from an immediate war with the Quileute Wolfpack, who initially believed the child was a threat. But imprinting changed everything. Renesmee was not an enemy. She was someone Jacob was destined to protect, to love in the purest way possible. When the Volturi finally arrived in Forks, the confrontation seemed inevitable. The Cullen family, accompanied by dozens of allies, gathered in the snowy clearing to face the threat. Aro, the leader of the Volturi, was captivated by Renesmee and her power. But despite the evidence that she was not an immortal child and posed no danger, the Volturi sought any excuse to eliminate her and the Cullens. Only Alice's cunning, who returned with a half-human, half-vampire hybrid as proof that Renesmee was neither unique nor a threat, prevented bloodshed. With the Volturi threat fading, Renesmee was free to grow in peace, but her destiny was still uncertain. Her development continued at a rapid pace, and her parents did not know how long she would live or how her growth would stabilize. The hybrid Alice brought, Nahual, revealed that she would reach maturity in approximately 7 years and that her aging would stop completely, making her an immortal being capable of living forever without the conflicts of traditional vampires. As the years passed, Renesmee became a young woman with an insatiable curiosity about the world. Always accompanied by Jacob, she explored the beauty of nature, learned from the books Carlyle provided, and became an expert in music and art, influenced by Edward and Esme. Unlike her parents, she could enjoy human food, though her preference for blood was undeniable. Sometimes she hunted alongside the Cullens, demonstrating her skill and grace. But she also cherished the moments when she could share a regular meal with Charlie, her maternal grandfather, who adored her without fully understanding what she was. The coming years were full of discoveries. Renesmee was not only a prodigious child, but also a bridge between worlds. Her existence challenged all established rules and offered a new possibility for coexistence between vampires, humans, and werewolves. As she grew, her relationship with Jacob evolved from friendship to something deeper, though he always respected her time and space. But the shadow of the Volturi never completely disappeared. Aro, although convinced not to destroy Renesmee during their confrontation, never stopped seeing her as a valuable resource. He knew that her gift, her essence, could be the key to expanding the Volturi's power. And so, as time passed, new threats emerged. Vampires loyal to the Volturi tried to approach her, tempt her with promises of greatness, of a purpose beyond what the Cullens could offer her. However, Renesmee always knew who she was and where her loyalty lay. Raised in the unwavering love of her family, with Jacob as her protective shadow and an uncertain but promising future ahead, she was not a defenseless child nor a victim of her destiny. She was Renesmee Cullen, the first of her kind, and she was ready to forge her own path in the world.